Hello, fellow citizens of the Gore. Welcome. I'm going to be starting Act 2 finally. I didn't forget about it, so welcome to Episode 1 of Act 2 of the Thomas the Trailhound series. This will be Episode 14 overall of my spoken word philosophical parables. I got 15 episodes. Here is the superstar, my corgi. So, thank you for stopping by. Let us begin. Episode 14, The Fall Forward. Act 2, The Lamp Gathers Flame. The first thing the world did was apologize. A long bar of gold split the horizon. Not sharp, but soft. The kind of light that seems embarrassed for what the night had done. The storm had spent itself against the shelter's tin roof, leaving behind only scattered droplets that clung to the rafters like they were afraid to let go. Thomas lifted his head from the old man's sleeping bag, blinked away. The crust of rain muddled fatigue, and sniffed. The trail smelled different, clean, new, like wet leaves and honest beginnings. The old man stirred beside him, slow but unharmed. His breath fogged the cool morning air in small, steady puffs. Thomas, storms have a way of showing you what still stands. And there we were, the two of us, still standing. The wind brushed the shelter's open side, carrying the hiss of a clearing sky and the distant, dripping cadence of a forest rinsed to the bone. The old man sat up, joints cracking, like old floorboards, but eyes clearer than they'd been in days. He didn't speak. He never needed to. Not with Thomas. He simply reached out, rested a hand between the hound's ears. Quite thank you for staying through the worst of it. He rolled up the bags, shook the last of the storm water from his pack, stepped outside. The world was washed in full autumn now, reds deep as embers, yellows bright as match heads. Every ridge line painted with the truth that nothing gold lasts. And maybe it doesn't need to. Thomas. Act 1 was the breaking. Act 2, that's the walking after. When the earth is softer, and the heart is too. The boots and paws sank into the mud that had the shine of a new clay. With every step, leaves clung stubbornly to Thomas's fur until he looked like he was wearing half a forest as a coat. first miles north again. They began to climb out of the small valley where the shelter hid. The trail switched back upward through a narrow corridor of oaks, branches still trembling from last night's tantrum of wind. Thomas moved ahead, nose guiding like a compass, needle freshly calibrated. The old man followed, gait sure, steady, no longer dragging the ghost the way he had on the southern miles. The sun warmed the back of his neck. For the first time in a long time, he led it. Somewhere far off, a crow gave a single loud caw. Not warning, not an omen, just greeting. The kind you give to travelers who survived the dark and deserve to be noticed. Thomas. Funny thing about storms, they don't end where the rain stops. They end when you decide to take another step. The ascent wasn't easy, but it wasn't punishing either. It felt honest. The kind of climb that matches the rhythm of a man who shed something heavy. Ridgeline pause. They created a low rise, crested a low rise, and paused, taking in the world, open by the storm's retreat. Mountains layered out in blue ridges. Sunlight glinted off wet leaves, turning the forest floor into a scattered patchwork of tiny mirrors. The air felt lighter, not just washed clean, but wrung out. Thomas sat beside him, shoulder touching the old man's leg, a silence soft and earned. Mid-morning miles in the meeting. They hadn't gone more than 2 miles down the northbound side when Thomas stopped cold. Ears up, nose twitching. Something warm, smoky, unmistakably salty drifted through the clean fall air. Thomas. Storm washed everything new, even the smells. But this one cut through like an old song you forgot you knew. The old man caught it too. Cured meat, peppercorn, maybe hickory from a low burning fire. Then she stepped out from behind a stand of still dripping rhododendrons, barefoot, gray hair braided down to her waist, apron smeared with salt and smoke from days of fall preserving. Crooked grin that looked like she'd been expecting them. Gypsy June. But look at you two. Y'all got the same expression as a pair of possums that lost a fight in the tree they was fighting over. Thomas tilted his head. The old man blinked. Gypsy June. Y'all smell like storm ghosts and wet dog. Mostly wet dog. Thomas huffed indignantly. She winked at him. The invitation. The old man muttered a polite thank you and started to walk. They needed miles after all. That was the deal they made with the mountains. But June, she didn't budge. Gypsy June. Uh-huh. I see how it is. Two hard-headed travelers thinking pride tastes better than a hot lunch. She followed, just a few steps behind, not intrusive, just steady. Like a creek that refuses to change course just because you rather walk dry. Gypsy June. Storm took the color out of your cheeks, old timer. I got a stew with the kind of pepper that puts the life back in both man and beast. Thomas paused, looked back at the old man. His tail gave one slow, traitorous wag. June smelled weakness and pounced. Gypsy June. Aha! See? That how's got more sense than you. Come on now. I ain't feeding ghosts. Come wash off your stone. The old man exhaled, shoulders dropping. He turned and followed her. Gypsy June's cabin. Her cabin wasn't really a cabin, more a collection of things that had survived her company long enough to become home. Tin roof patched with license plates, wood stove made from two stoves welded together, herbs hanging in the rafters like upside down saints. A pot simmered on the stove, bright red, smelled of tomato, venison, sweet onion, pepper flakes that promised a slow burn. She ladled balls before they could refuse. Thomas got his own thick stew poured over cornbread scraps. Gypsy June. Eat now. Storms take more than rain. You gotta put back what they washed out. The old man washed up at the basin, scrubbing away dried mud, soaked leaves, the last fingerprints of despair left by Iron Mountain. Thomas curled up by the stove, steam warming his fur. The world felt small, safe, and honest. The departure in the clear Smokies. They left just after lunch. June stood in the doorway, apron flapping in the breeze like an old flag. Gypsy June. You come back if the trail tries to take something from you again. Storms ain't the only thieves in these woods. She waved him off with the two fingers and a nod. By the time they reached the ridge again, the sun was high. The air was so clean, it felt unreal. No haze, no smoke, no lingering veil over them Smokies. Thomas. Funny thing, even the mountains weren't hiding today. Like the storm scrubbed the whole world clean. Maybe us too. Look back once towards June's cabin, already swallowed by the trees, like she'd been a dream, or a lesson, more than a person. Diogenes' reflection. The trail stretches ahead, clear, bright, honest. Kindness is the heart fire of the road. Even the strongest wanderer needs to warm his bones sometimes. Pride lets you endure a storm, but grace is what lets you walk it. If you made it all the way through this episode and you like it, like, share, subscribe. I've got 52 episodes total and planned. This is episode 14 again, and the beginning of Act 2. I should be able to link the playlist for both down below for Act 1 if you want to get caught up, or if you just want to walk along the trail with Old Man and Hound from here, that's fine too. The great modern American cynic, Diogenes the dog, thanks you for stopping by my fireside philosophical parable series. I'm doing this to honor the spoken word storytelling tradition of my Ojibwe family. Thank you. Diogenes out.